Hey guys, been a while. It is, what is it today? Monday, I believe. Yeah, Monday. And I'm back from about 2 weeks of sub zero temperatures. This is basically the first time I've had a chance to get back in the shop. It's just been too cold out here. We had several consecutive days of sub zero temperatures, namely minus 20, minus 25, below zero. And I tell you what, that's cold. And then we get the Arctic blast of winds, constant winds, and we got something that's called wind chill. So it's 20, 25 below out, and it feels like it's about 50, 60 below out. You smile, try to smile, and your face wants to fall off. It's not fit for man or beast out there. And my little Bigfoot's lantern over here couldn't keep up. As much as I've been bragging about it and how it keeps the shop nice and toasty when it's that cold outside. Yeah, there's just nothing really I'd have to have a half a dozen of those things in here, kerosene cookers going just to try and keep it somewhat tolerable in here. And it's just not worth it. Nothing works. My hands don't work well. My legs ain't working well at all anyway. Liquids in here, forget it, glues. It's just not fun. So, but the weather finally broke yesterday and it hit the grand old temperature of 21 degrees. And I thought, hell yeah, throw the shorts and the wife beater on and let's go outside. Got some fresh load of kerosene, filled up the lantern, and it is now, temperature stick says, it is a balmy 59 degrees in here. I can almost feel myself getting the suntan. Nah, I'm just kidding. It's nice in here. It's not bad. Um, I'm sure it'll go up a little bit more. So I just thought I'd take this opportunity to come out, throw a little film in the camera, right, and show you something a little different. This is something, Ryan inspired me to drag this out from Linehead Restorations, Ryan, and all the good stuff, the good Marine that he is, and all the good stuff that he does with tooling and axes and vices and leather work. He brought out something the other day. If you saw his video, brought out an old World War II E-tool, and him and I were chatting back and forth a little bit about it. I too have one of those. I didn't go into the extensive restoration like he did. However, I did bring it back from the rust and crust of 80-something years of being in dirt and in an old barn. And I have it here, and I'll show you. And I might even go back and revisit trying to restore that. Well, I don't even have to restore it. It's got the original green paint, the GI green olive drab paint on it. So that's one of the reasons why I didn't strip the paint or sand it and try to antique it with iron juice. But after seeing what Ryan did, I may just revisit that. I'll show you that here in a minute. This is something else I have in my truck, if you guys can see that. Let's see how my camera's doing. Huh, not so bad. How do you guys see that? This is what you call, for you folks that, this has inspired me. You guys know I was a machinist and a millwright, and for many years. But also, I had a dual career. I had not a shadow career. I had two careers. I was also a firefighter. Um, I was a firefighter in the military, and when I got out, I became a firefighter and a medic. And I also, through my trials and travels, not only was I a mechanic and a millwright machinist, I was in the full-time fire service in the private sector. I was an industrial firefighter at a refinery. In fact, I retired doing that after 10 years, but I was too young to retire. So I went back to the trades and, continued my work as a machinist and mechanical kind of stuff like that. But fire service has always been near and dear to my heart. I wanted to be a fireman ever since I was little. I saw a tragic, fatal fire when I was a little boy, and it affected me I think I was about 5 or 6 years old, and from that day forward, I wanted to be a firefighter, and I fulfilled that. Anyway, storytelling's over. This here is a Council Tool 6-pound flathead axe, and what's connected to it, this device, is called a halogen tool or a Halligan tool. And for those of you that know, a Halligan tool, and right, by the way, this 6-pounder, this flathead, is made specifically to be what they call married with the Halligan tool, and I'll show you why. Sure, I really put it together tight. This is what sits in my truck, and I've used these extensively in the fire service. Can you say forcible entry? Because that's exactly what this stuff is all for. And boy, this is really in here. What you're really supposed to do when you get out on the scene or off the truck is you just give a tap to the end of the handle, and these two pop apart. They're made to stick together pretty good, because when you get off the truck and your right front seat officer says, grab the irons, that's what he's talking about. These will be in the truck together, and you grab them at once, then you grab the irons. And usually truckies have these, but in some smaller departments, they'll have sets on the ladder or the truck. They'll have it on the engine companies. You'll find them all over the place. And they're used for forcible entry. I have used these things, obviously, for forcible entry in cars, trucks, doors, houses, windows, padlocks, you name it. I mean, look at this. This is an implement of destruction, all right? It's marked for, what's the word? What's the triangle? You guys know what I'm talking about. Anyway, they have them pre-marked for when you have to jam them in the door, and then you get fulcrum. All right, and the more you jam it in, or the less you jam it in, on the first mark, you get more fulcrum action on the end, and you jam it farther. You can break stuff. Look at these forks. This is made of, I think it's 4150 tool steel. It's got a coating on it, and then you got the horn end, and I have mine protected right now, but it's got the shoe horn end, and it's got the horn right here. Call it the buck, but around the country, there's different names for all this stuff. And you can pretty much guess what these are good for. Prying, stretching, I mean, look at that. Look at the blade on that. Can you see that? How am I doing my camera work? I fired my crew. If I didn't, my film crew, producers, I fired them, so it's just me. That is definitely will do some damage. You take sometimes these padlocks don't last on the horn. You stick this in the bite of the padlock. You give this a good tap with the end, the pole of your axe, and then get on the end of your Halligan. I call them hooligan tools, and just pry. It'll pop any padlock, pretty much. I'm not a locksmith, but I've seen and done plenty of locks that way. You can pop deadbolts. They have specific training just for these tools alone. So you got that, the Halligan, and then you have the 6-pound flathead fire axe. This thing, can you see that? Does it pick that up? The heat treat on here? I gotta be careful because this thing is sharp. It's got a little piece of rubber on here. And you can see, let's see, focus. I don't know, because that's show very well. But it is definitely heat treated. I think it's heat treated to around 60 on the C scale. And so is the pole. So you can hammer with this stuff all day. This is definitely a tool. And it's a nice looking axe. And then you see it's cut. It's got this cut right here on both sides of the cheek. All right. And that's for the blades. That's for the fork blades of your Halligan. Just fit that right in there. And you lock it in. And then your handle. This is definitely big boy tools. And your handle just fits in the V that your horn and your blade makes at the end. And you just carry that as a set. It's called the irons, marrying the irons. So once I got out of the fire service, retired, I bought myself a set. And that is my truck stuff. That sits in the back of behind my seat. I can't tell you how many car. I also keep a fully stocked medic bag, an O2 oxygen kit in my truck. I have 2 sea collars, 2 military standard issue, general GI issue, 100% wool blankets in there because any other blankets on a cold, wet street of a car accident just don't cut it. But wool, that's the stuff we use. So I keep two old GI blankets in there just for that. Also comes in handy when you got to cover somebody that's been unfortunately deceased, but it works. You're going to lose a blanket, but you got to still keep the integrity of the scene and the decency of the folks that unfortunately passed. So I keep that in there amongst other things. I got flares, I got chocks, I even got an old horse apple shovel back there too. But this came out with the council tool stickers on there. I think I'm going to take them off because I think I'm going to antique that handle. That is a pretty stick. I don't know if I can show you the grain because this is a lot of shit to handle and show. But can you see that grain on there? Does that show? I'm sure you'll let me. No. That grain is about as perfect as it gets. That came from Council Tool. This is a beautiful handle. So I really got a nice one. It's got some nice stamps on it. It's got the USA on there with the usual Council Tool stamps. It's hard to do when you can't see what you've. It's got Council Tool, but on this one it says it's stamped Council Fire. So it's a big difference. They did nicely on the wedge, and they gave us a nice steel wedge in there. It's not going anywhere. I like this. It's really slick. Council Tool, 6-pound flathead, married to my Halligan tool, my Hooligan. Okay. The other thing I want to show you, like I said, Ryan from Lionhead Restorations, and he just did a video on his E-tool. And this one's mine, and this also resides in my truck. I've had this for quite a while. I think I got it off. I think I won it at an auction on the good old Flea Bay. It didn't come with the mask. I think I got that later. But when I did get it, okay, come out of there. There we go. So it's not in bad shape. I think I soaked this in Evaporust. Yeah, I did. And you can still see some of that. And this was interesting because down here at the rivets, they're in great shape. Looks like somebody took a grinder or something, tried it, but they had enough sense to quit. They stopped right there. So good for them. So it's pitted a little bit, just a little. This says it's stamped right here, if you can see that. US, obviously, and made by Wood, 1945. There was a whole ton of manufacturers that made these. And then this has got a really nice, like I said, I don't know if that you can see it in this light. It still has the green paint patina. All I did, I soaked it overnight in raw linseed oil, and that's all I did. I don't know. I might take that down. I might leave it alone. I don't know. What do you guys think? But it works great. These things are so handy. I took the bezel off, cleaned it all out. This thing was full of white sand. So I don't know. The sand in here and the rivets and the hinge is all white. You can't see it now, but it's white sand. So, it makes you wonder where it was. History. I love that stuff. And this thing is as good as it came out of the factory, and I love it. Very, very handy. And I just looked them up after I watched Ryan's video, and these aren't too bad. They're still relatively affordable, if you ask me. And you can lock this in at 180 degrees, or you can lock it in at 90. All right. See that? Now, it's obviously an E-tool, an entrenching tool. But I know there's plenty of armed forces out there in the world that use these for fighting too, specifically the old Russian Spetsnaz forces. They are known to be deadly with their shovels. If you can get your hands on a real Spetsnaz fighting tool, and I have seen one, they are razor sharp, razor sharp. So you know what they're using them for. They're taught specifically for close quarters and hand-to-hand combat with this thing. I wouldn't want to. I wouldn't want to meet a guy. I think I wouldn't be bringing a shovel or a knife to a knife fight, if you know what I mean. And then it came this sheath or mask came. I got it at auction later. This one's also dated 1945. JQMD. I once knew what that stood for, what company, but I don't remember anymore. Ryan did a fantastic, terrific repair on his snap button. Mine, fortunately, is intact. Still is. You smell these things, and they just smell old. But he did a great repair on his. If you check out his video, yeah. If I had to do that, I would do that same repair. It turned out fantastic. It looks like a GI, fixed his own shit on the beach or somewhere in Europe. Fantastic fix, Ryan. That is that, and I'm back at it as long as the weather holds and Bigfoot's lantern keeps putting out some decent heat. Let's see what the heat is now. A little weather check here. How you guys doing? Everybody doing all right out there? All our friends out there experiencing winter storms where there shouldn't be, snow and shoveling and cold and ice, and I hope everybody's safe out there, because you know what? That shit ain't funny. I tease about it and bitch and complain about the cold, but I'm prepared. I was born and raised in this stuff. It's nothing to us up here. But folks that don't live this stuff every season, day in, day out, it's damn dangerous, and there just ain't no joking about it. I feel really bad. So I hope everybody's all right out there. And your snow blowers are all running. Let's see. We're up to 64 degrees, so my little lantern is working great. I'm kicking its close quarters over here. I'm kicking my new stand. I hope I don't knock my camera over. All right, guys, just a short one for you, just to say hi and see how everybody's doing. Hope the weather holds up, and we'll see you out there. Be good. See ya.